So welcome everyone to our weekly webinar. This is going to be dedicated to a special subject and a conversation topic today. It's going to be dedicated to the latest release of RigER, which is the release 7.0, dubbed as Oklahoma City. And some of you already know that we name our releases after the popular oilfield locations. So this time is Oklahoma City. Today's webinar is going to be very interesting and very full of information, extremely full with information. And what we wanted to make sure that we cover everything as we are moving on. And there will be chances to ask questions midway through and as well as at the end of the presentation. And we're always available for the conversations in the offline mode, if you will. So we always are available to talk over the phone, over email, and by any other means. So please feel free to reach out to us anytime. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Nikolai Korniuk, and I'm VP of Sales, Marketing, and Business Development here at RigER. An important thing, again, it's important not only for us, but for all of you who are with us today. We want you to be able to connect with us by all the means, and I know that many of you are, and actually are interactively responding to us through the social media channels. So we appreciate any and every piece of feedback by any means. So please do follow us on any of the following, and we actually have a group in LinkedIn. So please be sure to check out our RigER Oilfield Rentals group and join the group. It's right here. So follow the group and you'll get the latest updates from us. Again, it's another channel to communicate with us. For those of you who are always on the go and use social media on the mobile, it's very convenient. And I'm going to present quickly an agenda and speakers today. So among those of you who are our customers know the people, those who are not. So these are the people that you would interact on an ongoing basis with when you are implementing or using RigER for your operations. So there's Michael, CEO, Gleb Kobitz, VP Operations, and Arsen Artinyan is project manager. So these are the people that are key to interact with when you do set up RigER for yourselves. So today's agenda includes a quick intro. We'll talk about what actually is new coming in the Oklahoma City release. We'll talk about the key new features. And amongst them are very interesting and important ones, such as user roles, and we'll talk about the matrix. We talk about the unit reservation module, that is a new addition to the system, as well as the Oilfield Job Dashboard. So that's a very new and exciting addition that has been made in this latest release. We'll talk about also the updated reports. This is something that we always work on and add to the system, as well as we'll talk about some other enhancement to the system, such as the intercompany transfer, expense claim, repair invoice, and other improvements, including the user interface improvements. So quick intro of, and again, it's more targeted to those of you who don't know much about us as a company, because I know that there may be some of you. So RigER is a flagship, real quick. So RigER is a flagship product of BelcaSoft, and our mission and vision is to push forward the paperless enterprise, provide the custom solutions to accommodate to the needs of specific business requirements, and do conduct or perform integrations with other systems. Again, we are open as a platform, and we integrate with different solutions if needed and when needed. So that's all. It's all part of the evolution of the product. What is RigER? Again, some of you may have been to webinars before, some not. So a quick overview of what RigER. RigER has grown significantly in the past year. So we're not only a cloud platform, but we all know we now have 4 digital mobile applications. So the mobile applications are actually custom designed to fit specific needs of a role at an organization. So it varies depending on your specific needs. We would recommend which one you'd need to use to support your operations in the field. And as always, we do provide sort of a lineup of what kind of examples of industry applications RigER has already implemented on its platform. So that includes rental equipment distribution, the downhole tools, waste management, flowback, telecom and rig moves, among many others that can be configured on RigER. And on the map, you can see the growing number of the cities and locations where our clients are residing and working out of. So on this slide, yeah, we wanted to thank everyone who's supported us through the past several months, where we were nominated as well as selected as a runner-up in the Oil and Gas Awards. So this is a nice picture out of Houston at an event in Houston last month. And we were especially pleased by one of the judges who put the line out for us, saying that we're moving the oilfield forward to the digital era. We are, and it's pretty much what we're doing and what we set to do, what we're doing. So we're pleased to be nominated and to be among the people that have been in that room in the Oil and Gas Awards. So some of you will actually notice, and some of you may not see your logos on this one. So again, it's just to give an idea to those of you who are new to RigER, what kind of companies we're working with. And a special thank you I wanted to, or congratulations rather, I wanted to put out to and give a shout to Catch Can. So today they're celebrating 25 years of operations, and it's an Edmonton, Alberta, Canada company that operates oilfield rentals and services business now across the world. So both of those in Canada, US, and Middle East. So we're proud to support them in their endeavor of managing their operations using RigER. And we'll pass the microphone to Michael Malsov, the CEO of RigER, who's going to dive into the details of the latest release of RigER 7.0 Oklahoma City.
Hello, everyone. This is Michael, and today I will present a new version of RigER, and we will talk about the entire RigER development. And first of all, I would like to thank all our clients for the ideas and feedback how to make our product better. And I'd like to thank the entire RigER team, developers, support, consultants, and sales with in marketing. We like. For all those efforts which make this new release real, and this is what we're proud to present today. And this release continues the our direction. Like we continue our direction to the unit economics. Talking about unit maintenance, improvement of the user experience and user interfaces, focusing on the analytics and business operations, dashboards and reports, developing mobile and web applications. So those are core focus of RigER development in 2019. And again, this is the things which we select after the user conference this year. So I hope that we will have a very good conference next year in 2020, and we will select our developing a roadmap for next year as well. So let me move forward and tell why we name it in Oklahoma City. Because it happened that we participate last week in Oklahoma Oil and Gas Expo, and decided to name this release Oklahoma City because of that new region for us, the new city, oil and gas city. So we continue named our releases by different cities to understand and show our appreciation and experience with that regions and cities. So in the new release 7.0 Oklahoma City, and let's move forward. So what kind of changes, what is important changes was done in this release? First of all, user roles and functions. We will talk about this in a sec. Oilfield Job Dashboard, rental unit statuses, new model, our rental unit reservations, and lots of different features which enhance the existing documents, or we build in new documents as well. So the item transfer was added, the expense claims, repair invoices, unit number selection attributes filter, inspection card templates, application close confirmation, and other improvements. For example, one of the improvements which every user will recognize will be small coloring changes of the statuses of the units and statuses of the documents. So you will see that we received the first initial feedback from our alpha testers, and they told that it's awesome, and we're happy to present it today. So let's talk about user roles. So initially, we start adding the roles to segregate different functions in RigER and understand who can do what and what kind of functions we have, right? Right now, we come to the point when we need to make this more advanced and more organized. And we defined 5 different groups: sales, operations, purchase, HSE, and admin, where we have different roles for every single groups. So for sales, we have a salesperson, sales manager, and account receivable. The operations, the dispatcher, fleet manager, fleet technician, and operation manager. The purchases, it will be purchase requester, purchase manager, receiver, and account payable. Safety manager, HR manager, and administrator. So some of the roles they remain the same. However, we identify and build more focusing rules, if you wish. And right now, it's more advanced process. If you assign a person, for example, a sales role, then the person, like salesperson role, then the person can see only his or her rental service agreement and related documents. The only 3 menus will be available: sales, or oilfield rentals, and general rentals. Documents will be only RSAs and sales orders, and only individual sales and price reports will be available for this particular person. And this happened because we see that our clients growing, and they required a lot of segregation of roles and segregation of duties, understanding who can see what, and that is why they did that. The second level of the sales roles is a sales manager, who can see all the RSAs and all of RSAs related documents for all the salesperson. So it's a sales manager. And accounts receivable, it's another role which is converted from accountant previously. And accounts receivable mostly focusing on the entire operation process. They can see RSAs, sales or rental invoices, sales invoices. However, there is some difference between what the accountant can do in the system, because initially it was like everything. Right now there is some limitations, and we will talk about this in a little bit detail. So the next group is now operations. Operations, we have a dispatcher, we have a field technicians, we have operation management, and fleet manager. So the dispatcher functions is to assign tasks to the field technicians, control the job, see all the number of hours, quality, quantity, control of the job, and see all available resources for the jobs, so they can manage rental units, manage field technicians, etc. And definitely, they can see sales, oilfield rentals, general rentals, and safety documents. Fleet manager, it's a new role, and this is the manager who controls the entire fleet, like internal processes, like the inventory movements, bill of materials, assemblies, disposals, is the sales of the units, and lots of internal processes which organize the fleet. And field technician is another role, mostly field jobs and mostly tickets and safety documents. The operation manager, it's a read-only role, and this role differ from the dispatcher, that this general role for reports and dashboard for the operations. Purchases, another group. The purchase requester, purchase manager, those are the reason why we add those 2 roles to the system, because we implement oilfield mobile purchases. And the mobile purchases are connected to the cloud, and we need to define who can request a PO, who can generate and approve PO, and who will do all those next steps, like bill of ladings, purchase invoices. That is why we have a receiver and we have accounts payable as well. So that kind of 4 different roles in the purchases, and those are roles for the entire purchase process. And sometimes we asked about is how those roles can be applied. Definitely, say you can assign to the same person, say for example, a receiver and accounts payable role. In this case, the person will enter bill of lading and purchase invoices, so they will understand how this works, and it could be one person. So next, safety manager, HR manager, and administrator. Those are pretty standard functions. So the safety manager focusing on the safety documents and reports, HR documents, HR manager, HR documents and reports, and administrator manage users, special admin transactions, and RigER settings. This is the most important change, because previously the administrator was responsible for everything and has access to everything. Right now, the administrator only have the rights to do the RigER settings and manage users. Technically, administrator can assign any roles to himself or herself, but this should be like an option and function here. So this is the most important for change for vast majority of our clients, and we need to have a specific procedure when we will do an update. This is why we do those webinars. And one of the things, so the old roles modified or deleted, so it will require some sort of special attention to the existing user. So right now you see the entire list of user roles, and this is the only roles which we can see in the system. Another big thing, big addition is a function metrics. So the function metrics give a particular function to the particular person. Say, for example, when we talk about the items, so create and edit items and the unit numbers, we can assign to a particular person. Usually, we recommend to do this. Assign 2 or 3 person in the company to have that kind of function. Same thing with clients, same thing with departments. Another option is the RSA approval. So without that option, the approval status will not be available for the user. So this is the function metrics. And again, when we move to version 7.0, we need to have this function metrics set up properly. So definitely, this required a lot of education, like understanding how things should work. And that is why we schedule a new webinar, user roles in RigER, and it will happen 2 weeks from now, October 31st, same time. So please join this webinar, understand how you need to set up RigER roles for your company, and we will help you with that as well. So, and I'd like to pass a mic to Arsen. So he will show us the new and updated reports. Yeah, Arsen, please.
Yes, thank you, Michael. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So after the user's role, you can see that a lot of changes have been made. Let's talk about a little bit about the reports that we have revised and changed. Now, we have worked on a lot of reports, but I'm going to specifically talk about 4 of them today. And the first one will be the gap days report that we have in the system. Now, this report's main intention is to help you find the days that suddenly somehow were not invoiced to your clients when you have operations on different wells, and you sometimes end up not billing some well for some period of time or for a day. So this report will gather all the information about the invoices on a selected time period, and will show you what days are missing. So the gap days report will end up giving you information that you need to invoice to gather all the remaining parts of the charges that you have to gather from your customers. Let's move on to the next report, which is the rental breaks report. This report will allow you to filter by different categories, like the client, the location, the rental unit, or even the rental service agreement. And it will allow you to see all the rental break notes, all the rental breaks that have been issued on that particular filter. Moving on to the next report. This is pretty comprehensive and a powerful report, and you can understand by the name that this the intention of this report is to be periodically, maybe on each morning. It doesn't really necessarily mean that it's going to be on the mornings, but periodically be sent to a number of people who need to have this analytics information. Now, this report shows you the statuses of your rental units and your actual fleet on a daily basis, and you can see how much you have in stock, how much you have in break, how much you have deployed, etc., and changes annual, weekly, and monthly. So it is pretty comprehensive. It contains a lot of information, and it is very useful for the management team. Let's go to the next, and this report, the UN Workflow Control Report, is actually not only a report, it's also a big tool that you will use when you end up having some inconsistencies in your database. And we sometimes see that cases, and this report actually gives you all the information that you need to find and shoot those inconsistencies. Now, the focus in this report would be the middle column, the status column. That status will show you the actual status of every single unit number in the system during the particular time period, the selected time period. So you will have all the recorders, status recorders, which are the actual documents that were used to change the status of the unit number. You'll have the information about the client, the location, the rental service agreement, and even the user who has made those changes. So it's a very powerful tool to find and troubleshoot the problems that you might have in the database in the future. So this is everything on the reports, and I'll pass the mic to Nikolai, who will actually run the question and answer section.
Oh, thank you very much, Arsen and Michael. This is midway through. We're midway through some of the highlights of the Oklahoma City release of RigER. Again, we know that it's a very comprehensive release. There's been a lot of things that have been changed, and I would encourage you now. There's going to be a second part where we'll talk about a little more in detail about some of the aspect of it. But if you have any questions right now, feel free to speak up and share them with us right now. And we've had actually a question already. The first one that came through, is there such a role as an executive in the system? And the answer is no, we don't have an executive role. It hasn't been requested, or it may have been, but I'm not aware that it's been requested before. But it's an interesting idea, so we'll definitely look into what it may require. And I guess
there is the very close to this could be the operations manager. Like read only and dashboards and reports. So again, we're not talking about the precise name of the role, but the understanding the role as it's like a set of functions. I believe this will be very close to that question which Michelle asked.
So here's another question that I got from Joanne, and the question is the update to the latest release mandatory or is it optional?
A good question. This release is not there. There is some visual changes and there is internal changes, and we not only change the functions, we change a platform a little bit. So it's a new version of the platform as well. So yes, it's a mandatory thing. However, if you do not use some of the features or modules, you will not see them. It's again, it will be easy for you to switch from one to another.
So basically, we'll roll out it for everyone, but turning on and off specific modules or features will be on a one-on-one basis.
Yeah, and again, it's optional.
Okay, and another question from Matthew. Do roles correspond in the cloud and in the mobile?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, and one of the example was a purchase roles. The purchase role was dictated from mobile, mostly, not from the cloud. So that is why we have that kind of a very detailed segregation in the purchase roles group.
So another question from Matthew again is: do I need to set up all roles? Or do I not, or just gonna pick some?
It really depends what the particular person needs to do. So, and down the road, potentially we will have some role settings. We're right now discussing that internally. However, if you'd like to do everything in a system, you need to pick all the roles, or West majority roles. Say, for example, it should be a sales manager. You do not need to pick a salesperson. This is like this role that cover one and another. So it really depends what kind of results you'd like to achieve, and that is why when we will move your database from 6.5 to 7.0, we will have a special session with you talking about how we need to set up a particular user.
Perfect. Thank you. So one more question while we're on the topic of reports, we just kind of you mentioned. So Richard is asking, is there more filtering for data on reports or just strictly time period?
Yeah, I'll take this one. Depending on the report, but yes, we do have a lot of filters and a lot of options in every single report, not only the time period or the date. So you can actually apply all of those filters and generate the data as you require. So yeah.
Perfect. Okay, and I guess the question is how to set it up. It may be if you don't see the filters, we may need to set it up. Is that right, Arsen? Or
well, we do actually employ all the necessary filters in the corresponding reports because we have revised the reports module recently. But if somehow we have missed something, we are always open to discussion, and the client can request, and we can actually have a customized report for them.
Okay.
Yeah, talking about a particular date and a particular period, it's two different types of the report. Say, for example, availability will show you a particular a snapshot. So it will be like the actual situation or actual status of the rental units, for example, for this particular day, for this particular time. But the revenue report, they will show you results for the period. So that is why from that logic, we set up either date or period for every particular report.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Thank you. And another question on reports from Reed. Will the filters on reports be available for selection on automated report schedules?
Well,
good question.
The short answer to this question is depending on the report, because the notification and the scheduling mechanism is highly customizable, and the reports, on the other hand, are strictly defined. We just need to understand what you exactly want to have as filters, because we need to predefine those filters inside the report, then apply the schedule. So depending on the report, we can do that. Yeah, we have a practice of such reports. We already have some clients who are using predefined filtered scheduling, and yeah, it just depends.
In general, the answer for this question will be in general yes, but if we will have any like issues with the particular reports, because right now vast majority of the reports can be scheduled for the automatic generations and email. This is another addition to the 7.0 Oklahoma City release. So you can literally send every report via email from the database, so which is good thing. And if you will see that kind of need to change the period for the or like make a flow-adding period for the particular report, let us know. Usually it should work, but if it's not, just let us know.
Yeah, and the process is pretty simple. I guess since we're talking about the latest release, so we'll reach out to schedule updates. And but if you don't want to wait, you just can send us an email to the support@rigor.ca, and we'll discuss the details of the reports and the updates as well. So if you're keen on that. For the sake of, I don't see any more questions, but thank you guys for asking. These are great questions for now, so we want to move on. There will be another opportunity to ask more questions on the previous section and as well as on the next section of the presentation. So thank you, stay tuned and jot down your questions.
So the next addition, a big additions for the rental units, it's a rental units reservation, and it's a new module. It's an optional thing, and we thought about this problem number of years, and right now we'll finally decide how we can do that. And let me show you the entire process. So first of all, we add a reserved unit number status, and the reserved unit number status set up by reservation node. Another thing, we specify and a little bit adjust the status names. So we rename a ready to rent status. So we available to ready to rent and add location to rect. It was lots of different questions from our clients, and we decided to specify this and make its wording more precisely. And another thing which we have as an additional status is a backup status for the rental units reserved to support deployed rental units. The reservation status, how it works. So when you start the rental service agreement and want to reserve a particular serial number, a unit number, then you, based on the RSA, generate a reservation node, and a reservation node will change the status of this particular unit number to reserved. And then when you have the delivery ticket will move this unit number to deployed or rect status, depending on the settings of that rental ticket. If that happened, that you need unreserved the unit, you can run a reservation node with unreserved type. So my understanding that not all the clients will use that, but if some of the clients need this functional, let us know, and we'll show you more detailed module, so how it works with your particular case. So the reservation module consists from the rental number, reservation nodes, reserved and unreserved. And we have a reservation report, which will show all the reserved items and under-reserved or over-reserved items as well. And this model available for the dispatcher and the operation manager roles. The reservation node looks like a standard document which will generate it based on the RSA, and we select a shop for the reservation, we enter the quantity to reserve, and select a particular unit number available for this particular moment to switch status from ready to rent to reserved. And definitely one of the limitation, the reservation node must be after the RSA date. So again, when we talk about rental unit statuses, we need to be very, very cautious about time and date. And all the reservation notes available at the special rental unit section, and we can see reserve list of the reservation notes, when it was reserved, for what client, for what location, and what unit numbers reserved. And to continue this conversation, and we will have a specific webinar scheduled for the middle of November. It will be 4 weeks from now. We'll show you like a step-by-step process, including a live demo in RigER, how the reservation works and how the status changed. So if you want to see that, join us November 14th. So I'd like to pass mic to Gleb, and he will show us other improvements of RigER.
Thank you very much, Michael. Hello, everyone. My name is Gleb Kobets. I'm VP of Operations in RigER. And as Michael said, let me show you quickly other enhancements that we've done with this release. And that is connected with the user experience and user interfaces. So I'm going to start with a new document that we have delivered to the databases, which is the RigER invoice. The RigER invoice allows you to actually invoice your client with the repair expenses that you may have during your operations. So some companies, they prefer to invoice customers with each incident that they had, and the repair invoice is the right tool to do this properly, because it captures all the expenses connected to the repair of the equipment. Our next document that we have delivered just recently to some of the customers' databases is the expense claim document. So within the expense claim document, you can track your expenses throughout the jobs, and your field technicians will be able to fill in this form and just to put their amounts for the meals expenses or traveling or accommodation expenses, and these documents can be connected to a customer job. So you may connect these expense claim document to rental service agreement, and the total amount of the expenses will be included in the final rental invoice.
And Gleb, let me explain about this particular document. So definitely the extension of this document will be a mobile application. So right now we are working to extend this and add this document to the mobile app as well.
Sure, yeah, because that's the essential part of the field technician operation. Definitely it will be available on the mobile application. Thank you, Michael. Let's move on. And the next enhancement that we've done is the intercompany transfer document. So those users who already been using the RigER for some time, they know that this document allows moving the equipment between different company locations, from one shop to another, or from one yard to another. So we have added a few features to this document, which are change the home department and an ability to select the carrier who moves the equipment between those locations. So within the change home department feature, you are allowed to change the allocation of a particular unit numbers in your internal organization. This is usually done for tracking your costs and for the operation cost control module. The carrier function allows again to select the carrier who moves the equipment, so you keep tracking of all the information about the move of the equipment. Also, you may see we have added crew and time tabs. So now if you do the equipment move and several people involved in this transaction, you can track their time individually and also track time of the whole job. You may also select the truck and trailer within which you move this equipment. So again, it allows keeping track of the movements in your organization. Also, along with these additions, we have added the inventory turnover report. And this report actually captures all the inventory movements events and presents it on a particular structure. Another big addition was the attributes filter when you select your unit numbers in the rental ticket. So once you're using this attribute feature of RigER, now you are able to select a unit numbers based on a particular attribute of these unit numbers. So if you'd like to select unit numbers with a some kind of attribute, you're just selecting it in the filter field, and all the unit numbers with this only attribute will be shown to you by the system, and you'll be able to select it quickly. Another pretty good improvement of and additions to the inspection card templates is the different documents that you can create inspection for. So, for example, on that screen you see that amongst the rental ticket, you now can build an inspection card template for bill of lading, assembly list, and intercompany transfer. That means that you can perform your inspection at each stage of these documents. So, for example, when you purchase the equipment and you bring this equipment to the inventory or to stocks in RigER, and you know that the bill of lading is responsible for this type of movement, so after the bill of lading, you will be able to do the inspection for the equipment before you dispatch it for the first client. And one more enhancement on the system is we have added this small window. When you're trying to close the application, we just ask you if you want to do that for sure, because we've seen from our previous experience with users, we've seen that users sometimes just miss the buttons and they close the application and they may lose the information that they have entered but not saved in the system. So we just have added another point of control before you exit the system. You may select the action of your choice. All right, on that note, let me pass the mic to Michael, who will cover the other interesting part of our presentation, which is the Oilfield dashboards.
Yeah, imagine that you can see all your jobs in one dashboard. So we still trying to find the best way how to present this. And one of the thing, it's a Kanban job dashboard, which will show you different statuses and show you the progress, a rental service agreement from open to closed status. And you can see your sales pipeline, approved, active, and all those rental service agreement. Definitely you can set up this for by a particular period of time. And this is one of the view which we'd like to present to our clients and see the feedback and see how it works. And we use this for our internal control as well. And this is another dashboard which is a good tool to see the all your active jobs. So you can select and show like a different filters. However, it's better work for only for the active jobs. So you can see the client, location, tickets, and you can select like from a rental ticket to field ticket. And in the particular ticket, you can see what is in this ticket. So how you not open the ticket but see all the details. For example, you can see service and parts section, rental units, unit numbers, and a crew section. So right now I'd like to show you the dashboard in the live database. And here we go. This is our Oilfield Job Dashboard. So at the very top screen, you can select and switch from months to months. So, and it will show you the entire pictures. You can switch from like see the all tickets or only rental tickets or only service tickets. Say, for example, when I switch to rental tickets, it will show me only rental tickets per job. Okay. Those triangles are showing different statuses. So the red one background showing that we just started the job. So it's a starting date from the RSA. The green triangle means that we have a ticket. So, and we have a delivery ticket with status open from main shop and nothing in it. In this ticket, we have a test employee, and we have a garbage trail GT023 black, and crew is a test employee. Again, this is a test database. That is why we have all those names here. However, you understand the entire point. Moreover, we can add more filters. For example, I'd like to see a particular location and see all the situation for this particular location or particular client or county or rental units or unit numbers, you name it. So there is a bunch of filters which you can apply for this particular view. And we hope that this will help a lot to the operations team understand what's going on and how things working. So you can see the entire information about this particular ticket, not open the ticket shown here. However, if you'd like to open RSA, again, double click, the RSA is open. If you'd like to open delivery ticket, double click, a delivery ticket open. So it's very robust and very convenient dashboard. So I encourage you to test it, to use it, and provide us your feedback. So maybe we can do even better, and maybe we can improve this view and make it more convenient for you. So this is the initial feedback which we received from our clients was very positive. So this is what we have in version 7.0. So please enjoy.
Okay, well, thank you, Michael and Gleb, for that second part of the presentation of the latest changes to the RigER in its latest version. Now, before we go to the survey, I just wanted to again encourage to ask you any questions. There's, as I mentioned, there's a lot that actually is packed in this latest release, and we always try to put as much information in it as possible in a presentation when we explain what's happened. So feel free to ask any questions right now, because we have you know, a few minutes to really cover some of the questions that may be burning. And we have another question from Michelle. Is there not a logout feature based on time or inactivity? And logging in and logging out, logging in and logging out is an interesting, you know, part of the process. You need to be kind of mindful of when you're logged in and when you're not logged out. So is there not a logout, automatic logout feature, Michael?
Unfortunately not. We couldn't do that because, you know, what can happen when you talk about a real life situation, the person start entering the document, say for example RSA, and receive a call from the client and start conversation for, you know, talking to client can be last forever, for example, for like 40 minutes, and this document is still open, so we couldn't terminate the session. We couldn't terminate the application. So the user have to do this by themselves. So it's just a you know, data security and like security of the job. So that's just we need to keep this data in a system.
So it's more for the safety, I guess, and you know, yeah, the safety and sanity (SNS) of the users. However, one needs to remember, again, it's part of the training when we explain, you need to log out, because every session is named, so it's under a specific username. You log in, your actions are tracked in the system, so you can go back and actually see what has happened, who updated what. So you want you to be able to successfully manage all information without being paranoid that you're going to log out in several minutes in the middle of when you're doing a document. So
you can go and grab some coffee and you know, see that your work unsaved and everything is lost. So we do not want to do that.
Yeah. So another question from Reed. This is on reservation notes. Are the reservation notes generated from the RSA, or do they have to be created from the reservation note list?
It should be done from RSA only, because we reserve for the particular client, for particular job, for particular location.
Okay, That's a good answer. Thank you. And another question from Reed. Are the reserved assets for a specific job shown differently when selecting assets via the delivery ticket asset selection drill down?
Yes, it's a different background, so you can visually see that it's on a green background, and there is a capital R. It's just showing that this unit reserved for the particular job. However, if it's not reserved, if the item not reserved for this particular job, it will not show as available item for other delivery tickets. So for the other job, you do not see that item.
Yeah, that's the point of the reservation. But you can see that when you pick an item, if it's reserved for the job, you will be able to see the difference between the ones that are reserved for the job, the ones that not, and they will not be visible for other jobs. That's a good one. Thank you. Any other questions, guys? Please do feel free to send them. We still have a few minutes. I have actually a question from Taylor on the dashboards. So the dashboards come standard with the Oklahoma 7.0 release, or do they need to be enabled?
This is a standard feature. Yeah, okay. They will be available at the oilfield rental section at the tools group.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I don't see any more questions, but like I said, we're still here. Feel free to type them up. We'll be able to answer them. What I would like to oh, okay, hold on a sec. Let me just ask. Yeah, I just wanted to ask a quick question. Yes, and I see the answers already. So how much did we cover? We know, again, it's really packed. This release is packed with the latest and very interesting new updates to the system. So just let us know what you think, whether we've covered enough or not. And on that note, I'll let Michael switch you to the next slide while the poll is still up. We'll talk about what's going to happen next. So yeah, go ahead and just answer the poll questions and listen to.
Absolutely. So one of the question could be like, oh, when we will see that at our database, and because this is a very extensive update in terms of user roles and all those small things should be done properly. We split all our clients to the 4 groups, and the final test is done, and we start updating today. However, depending on what kind of group you belongs to, you will receive an email about the date when we will update the database, and we need to have like 2 to 3 days, like plus minus, to have a session to set up the user roles. Definitely, you will receive a detailed description about the new user roles and how the need to set up those roles. We will have a user roles webinars in October, running October 31st, and the record of this webinar will be part of this email. And rental unit status is November 14th as well. So we not only update and keep silence, but we try to educate and show our clients how to use those new features.
And the one again, and just to reiterate the point that the best way to learn, again, to get an intro, is just to really sign up for the webinars. Everyone is on the client list of ours, receives them. So I think just kind of guys feel always sign up, and you will always learn something new about the system or how to use one or another trick in the system. Well, I have another question while we are on the topic, and it's from Reed again. So can you associate purchase orders for third-party services to the expense claim?
Yes, the part of the expense claim is the other services, and you can select the budget code which will be associated with any incoming services. And yes, definitely you can convert this to the field ticket after.
Okay, good. Perfect. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Like I said, we are still here. So, and we're always here to answer them at any time. And again, another venue for you to answer. So, one to get more information. One is to always communicate to our support in an offline mode. So, support is always there to help you with any answers as well. So, we have a bunch of different resources to help with any questions, as well as over the phone as usual.
So to the close note, once again, I want to thank to all our clients for the ideas and feedbacks. I'd like to invite you to the next webinar. So when we will go and overview of all our cloud features, because we realized that the last one overview was like maybe a year ago. And right now we have lots of different updates and we'd like to show all of them. And maybe if you not use them, it's time to start using. And I'd like to personally to congratulate the CatchCang team with the 25th anniversary. And I'd like to thank my team. So thank you, Team RigER, for the new release. And let's do it. Let's update all our clients and move forward. Thank you so much.
Yeah, before we close, there's another question from Reed. Is there a report? And I think this is a good thing. When we get the questions, this is an important one. So we wanted to let you know that we appreciate your questions, guys. So is there a report or proposed report for the profit margins for a specific RSA with the new expense claim module?
The expense claim as a document, the close situation you described, we call this a cost control module. And definitely this is our ultimate goal, to provide this information. So the profit margin of the specific RSA, of the specific location or specific client, to show the entire information to the management team to support all the decision-making process.
So basically, just to sum it up, Reed, is that now expense claim as well as the operating cost module that we have in RigER allows you to get all the indirect expenses in the system, and you will be able to generate. But it's a module that needs to be enabled in the system. So if you need to learn more, we just kind of let's schedule a conversation, and we'll explain how to set it up and what's involved. Okay. Okay, so I think we're coming up and we're over the top of the hour. We really appreciate everyone for sticking with us today and asking all the great questions. We hope that the update was informative, and we've seen from the survey results that it was just enough to get a snippet and an idea what's coming in the latest release. So we look forward to reaching out to you to schedule specific updates, as well as to hear any other questions from you. So please do always reach out. We're here to help, and that's what our mission is. So thank you very much for being with us today, and we'll see you at the next webinars.